What's going on, guys? Colby's Tech Reviews here. I know it's been a while, but I have been going through some things. I started my senior year at school. I had to get a new computer, so I have the 15-inch spec'd out 2012. Well, I got the 2015 version of it, but the MacBook Pro Retina display 15-inch. Did not get the 2016. I had to get one as soon as possible at the time. Anyway, today I'm going to show you how to do a galaxy portrait, or what I like to call a galaxy portrait. You can find other names for it online, but this is what I like to call it. So first you're going to open up Photoshop, and this is what I have open right now. And then you want to go into your internet browser, whichever one you like to choose, and search for Galaxy. So I am on Google Images. I go to these search tools and I choose the large size, so you can actually use these search tools and search for pictures that are larger or smaller than what you would like. I usually pick large because that means that the resolution is going to be a little bit better. And then you can also go for any color that you'd like. I don't know, we'll go for purple this time just because. And pick a photo that you like. I kind of like this one here. Oh, that one's forbidden. Never mind. And just pick any one that you like at the time. Save it. I'm going to save mine to my desktop. Galaxy. We'll just name it Galaxy. So then you're going to pick a portrait of somebody. I'm going to pick a portrait of Robert Downey Jr. just because. Now, keep in mind that I do not own any of these photos. This is just for your guys' use for examples and to educate you guys on how to do this process. I'm going to do any color because I don't need a purple picture of Robert Downey Jr. But we'll go ahead and pick this one here. Looks okay. Save it to my desktop, Robert Downey Jr. No period, doesn't matter. So now that that job is done, go into Photoshop, open up a new document, and title it whatever you want. Galaxy Portrait. And as you'll see, my width and height are 3840 by 2160. That is the Retina display pixel quality. So the reason I like to do that, or that's 4K quality, just so you guys know. But I like to do that just because it's the highest quality that I would ever need if I were to print this. I could go bigger, I could go smaller. Resolution 150 pixels per inch is fine. And I just keep it at RGB because I don't plan on printing this one, but if you want to print it, you go CMYK. It just looks a little bit better when it's printed. Click OK, start your new document. And I'm also going to do File, Open, and I'm going to open both of the photos that I just saved, the portrait of Robert Downey Jr. and the Galaxy photo. So what I'm going to do first in my actual project file is go over here, and I'm going to create a gradient. Go over here, go down to where this little half colored, half not colored circle is. Scroll up to gradient. And the first thing, I'm going to select this black into white gradient. Then I'm going to put the style to radial. And then I'm also going to click this reverse button so that way the black side is on the outside and the white is on the inside. And then if we go ahead and scale this out a little bit, or scale this up a little bit, you'll see it kind of creates a little bit of a vignette around the center of the background. And then just go ahead and click OK. You can use whatever colors you guys would like. I like the black and white because it makes the color that you choose pop a little bit more, and you'll see what I mean here later. So go over to the portrait that you chose. Again, I chose Robert Downey Jr. You can choose whatever you'd like. Going to go over here to my, as you can see, my Polygonal Lasso tool. It should be underneath the Lasso tool. If what you see, it looks like this, click and hold it, and then these options will come up from underneath it. So I use the Polygonal Lasso tool for mine. And then just go ahead, and it doesn't have to be perfect, just select around the face of whichever portrait that you chose. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And again, I'm doing this fairly quickly. I might be a little bit more careful if I was doing this of somebody that I knew or for somebody. But for this purpose, it'll do the job. And then come up around the hair. His hair's a little messy, so you can kind of see how that goes. But again, you don't have to be perfect. Just do it fairly quick, and it'll still turn out really well. And then whenever you're coming back to where you started, as you'll see right now, there's just the tool and the little shape right at my mouse. Once you come back to where you started, you're going to get that little circle and then you'll click. And that means that you're going to complete the loop around whatever you're selecting. So then if I go up here to Image, go to Adjustments, and scroll down to Threshold. So pick Threshold, and as you'll see, it actually selects the darker and lighter parts of the image. And the darker parts are what is going to show up of color in your final project. So right now, as you can see, the left side of his face, I mean, whenever it showed up the first time, it was more like this. But the left side of his face is a lot darker than the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Cancel. I'm going to go over here to my Dodge tool. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. I'm going to go over here. Under my Dodge tool is the Burn tool. And what this is going to do, make my brush a little bit bigger here. What this is going to do is actually darken this side of the image. And the reason I'm doing this is to make the features on the right side stand out a little bit, so that way they'll turn black whenever I do this again. So Image, Adjustments, Threshold, and now as you can see on the right side of his face, it turns up a little bit darker. So that way you can get a little bit more of an even selection, and it contours the right side of his face a little bit more also. Now if I was to do this a little bit more carefully, I'd probably go in and lighten up the left side of his face. That way you could get rid of some of this shadow under his mouth and his nose, or I would even darken up this side a little bit. But for this part's sake, you get the point, and I'm just going to move on. So click OK whenever you get the black part to look how you want it to. And then you're going to go up to the top again, click Select, and click Color Range. Make sure your fuzziness is down to 0. If you put it up, it's going to select other things that are a little bit more outside your color range that are close. Whereas, so what we want to select is within this selection. So you have black and white. But then because the color of his suit in this photo is black and his tie, it's going to start to select those as well. So I keep the fuzziness down to 0, so that way whatever color you select, it'll just be within that selection that you originally made. And then you'll see my mouse turn into this little eyedropper tool. So I keep the range up to 100, but then I click on the photo of my selection, the black part of my selection, and click around to make sure that over here in this little smart preview that the selection will be about even shade of whitish gray all the way around. So right here, so if I click up here, the bottom of his face gets a little bit grayed out, but if I click down here, it evens itself out a little bit. I just find this, I don't necessarily know if this does make a difference, but I find it to be a little bit more helpful in the long run. Go ahead and click OK. So now what I have selected is simply just the black part, which would be essentially like the facial silhouette of Robert Downey Jr. What I want to do is go ahead and drag this. As you can see, only the black part is selected. Drag this into your file, and then you can actually size it to whatever you want. I'm going to size it down to about here, put it in the center of my image, and then click Enter. Clicking Enter will make sure that that adjustment that you made size-wise is solidified, and that way you can keep the quality of the portrait that you just placed in there the same. Then go over here to your Galaxy photo, do Command A, and drag that photo into your project file. And what I'm going to do here is actually make it just a little bit bigger, or a lot of it bigger. And you can place it wherever you want, because you're actually going to adjust it in a bit. Then click Enter with that one again as well. And as you can see over here in your Layers panel, the gradient fill here, this is your background layer at the very bottom, where it was a white background, then you put the gradient on top. The layer 1 here is the portrait face of Robert Downey Jr., and it does give you these little previews just in case you can't see or can't tell what they are. But layer 1 is the outline of Robert Downey Jr., his silhouetted portrait. And then layer 2 is this Galaxy photo. So as you can see, it's just this picture moving around. So if I go over here to layer 2, with layer 2 selected, hold down the Option or Alt key, depending on which ecosystem you're using, Mac or Windows, and you'll see that if you hold Alt and then go to the bottom half of this layer 2 layer, it comes up with this little down arrow with a white box next to it. Go ahead and click, and what that does, it actually moves the Galaxy photo, or whatever photo you decided to use, It moves that behind the portrait of Robert Downey Jr. in this case, and it also creates a mask out of his portrait so that whatever is behind it will show through, but only that black outline that we had is what is created as the mirror to the back image. Then, as you can see, I'm still having the transform controls of that galaxy photo behind it, so I can move that photo behind him, Robert Downey Jr. in this case, however I want. And if I want to, I don't like this white spot here in the middle. It kind of detracts from what I'm going for. But I like this. You can see a good bit of the purple. It's a little bit darker down here, which I kind of like, and then the hair is a little bit lighter. Go ahead and click enter one more time to place that file behind. And right now, you're all set. If you wanted to add text, you could go ahead and do that, and then you just duplicate layer 2, and then place that not behind layer 1 with the portrait, but behind whatever layer the text is on, and it does the same effect. And right now, you're pretty much all set. So go ahead, do File, Save. You can file export it as whatever you want, and you guys are all set. So thanks again for watching. I know I have been kind of MIA for the last couple months, but I promise I'll get back to this channel. So again, thank you. Make sure to subscribe down below. And then also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. It's at ColbySimpson1. Colby Simpson is my real name, believe it or not just Colby's Tech Reviews. And I'll be sure to keep uploading some more videos. So thanks. Happy Halloween to you all, and enjoy the video.